Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories concerning the attacks of September the 11th. Malicious lies that attempt to shift the blame away from the terrorists themselves, away from the guilty.
People are always asking me, yo, Gemini, what's your angle?
Welcome back to the show, guys. It is June 19th, 2011.
I continue to blame the Knights Templar in the hospitals.
Down the rabbit hole.
The real reason New York...
And today we are down deep in the darkest bowels of the rabbit hole. And joining me on this trip into hell is my good friend Susan Lindauer, who's had the courage to stand up. And before I even got a chance to, talk to Susan and, got the chance to be an acquaintance of hers and build a friendship with her over, the course of the past few weeks, I've seen her stories, since back, in the beginning when she got locked up and smacked around by the Bush-Cheney Nazi administration that we had. And I've always been a supporter of hers. And I've never, Susan, I grew up with a typical conservative upbringing. I believe in guns. I believe in defending the country. I believe, in fact, I was a moron for a minute. I even believed the official story of 9/11, although I didn't believe the whole, even when I believed the official story, I didn't believe the whole official story, which is what led me down the path that I'm on today.
You spit out the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I did. I have to tell you, I was a volunteer firefighter in New Jersey for 6 years, and that day they were calling for anybody that was retired or active duty or volunteer to get in, come down to Giant Stadium, and I had just left the firehouse that I was on because I was in the middle of moving and doing a bunch of stuff. I was moving around and doing some different things. So I had been gone and out of the. I hadn't been down the firehouse probably in a couple months, like 2 or 3 months. But I still had my own gear, and I took my stuff. Another friend of mine who had retired, him and I took our gear and we threw it in my pickup truck, and we drove down to Giant Stadium to help out. And we were going to ride in with the ambulances from all over because people were coming down from all the faraways, New Hampshire. And they didn't know the area, so we were going to take them into the city, pick up the wounded, and bring them back out. And we were just going to do like 12 or 18-hour shifts of this. And we didn't care. We were down. We knew all the area hospitals. So, and we had signed in with the state police, and they're the ones that asked us if we wanted to do the ambulance thing. So we had everything worked out. We were just waiting for the injured to come in. Long story short, obviously there was no injured to come in. Everybody had been blown to pieces. But while we were there, I told you I was sitting in the command center, and we heard the state police pull over the van loaded with Israelis, and they had C4 in the van. And at first it came over they were Middle Eastern men, and then it came back that they were Israelis. And, of course, you find out later from later research they were Mossad. Now, how come Mossad was driving around with vanfuls of C4? You got the dancing Israelis arrested by the East Rutherford police, plus another van. If you listen to the New York City police and fire radio chatter from 9/11, they blew up a van with a car bomb, however big it was, and the NYPD got the guys that did it, and they turned out to be Israeli Mossad as well.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, and again, I'm not saying that Israel is solely to blame for 9/11. I think my personal view on it is it could not have happened unless you had a broad cooperation between Jordanian intelligence, Saudi intelligence, the ISI, MI5, MI6, the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, and Mossad. Without all those organizations working together, it could not have happened the way it did. And funny thing,
I think you.
So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, what you just said is so important because we got in my book. I've published a book called "Extreme Prejudice: The Terrifying Story of the Patriot Act and the Cover-Ups of 9/11 in Iraq." And in my book, we go into all the different intelligence agencies that were telling us there was going to be an attack before 9/11, and that included Jordan, Germany. The Taliban was telling us it was going to happen. Egypt was telling us it was going to happen. The Israelis were staked out on. I have my own personal Israeli story. On the morning of 9/11, the first building had fallen and the second was still standing, and I was watching it on TV at my house, and my CIA handler, Dr. Richard Fuse, was at his house, and we were shouting at the TVs in our respective living rooms, and he blurted something out to me. And he said to me, Susan, how often, this was a day before video footage was released of the airplanes flying in over the water and hitting the World Trade Center. And so a day before this went public, Richard Fuse already knew that the videotape existed. And he said to me just spontaneously out of the blue, before the second building falls, he said to me, Susan, how often do you think that a man and woman are standing on a street corner with a video camera queued up to record a car accident? How often do you think it happens? He said at best, if they've even got a video camera, they're whipping the camera around, they're catching the last part of it, it's in motion and it's the picture's very blurry and you're only getting the last, the seconds after the crash. And he said those are Mossad agents who have captured the film of the airplanes flying over the water. The man and the woman were Mossad agents. And he told me that they had done this. And he said, and I said to him, I was hysterical by that. And I said, you mean to tell me that I've been running around for months trying to get any kind of fragment of intelligence on this attack, and the Israelis knew it the whole time and they didn't tell us, and we've been, busting our behinds. I said I was more graphic. I was really angry and shouting and yelling and screaming at the phone at this point. And I was like, you mean to tell me that we've been trying so hard to get this stuff and Israel knew the whole time and they didn't tell us? And at that point, the phone went dead. And the phone cut off. And I called Richard back, and he very calmly, he said, Susan, we must never talk about that ever again.
Oh, well, Mike Rivero has put it eloquently. He said, talking about Israel, involvement with anything is like the third rail. You can't talk about it, you especially in politics. You talk about it, you die. And again, it's not the Israeli public. Yeah. The people, the Jewish community of the United States, more than 50% of them don't even believe that Israel should be where it is, because they think, and this goes back to the original creation of Israel. And again, this isn't Israel bashing or anything. My mother was a Jew, my grandmother was a Jew, so by blood I'm a Jew, full disclosure. But the people of Israel, the citizens, really, not the brainwashed ones, but the awake ones, they get arrested all the time for going up against their government and what their government is doing. It's not the people. It's just the few elites at the top, just like the very elites that we have in this country. And they take people that join up because they play on people's pride. They suck them in, they get them to join, and then they brainwash them. And Mossad is just like the CIA. I mean, they do things to, they play with their own agents' heads just as much as they play with, just as much as the CIA does with ours. And they know everything, okay? And that goes on with Middle Eastern terrorist groups. Mossad has an agent involved in everything. And before 9/11, there was a huge Israeli spying ring that was being quietly rounded up by the FBI in the United States. It's on record, okay? Fox News even did a report about this. And they show that this spy ring was larger than any other spy ring previously ever in the history of the United States. It even dwarfed that of Stalin's. And anybody that knows how big Stalin's was, they had people right into the White House that actually were, spies for, communist spies, working for the KGB. They were assets. He was right into the White House. Stalin had eyes and ears. And yet the Israeli intelligence ring dwarfed them. and they were about halfway rounded up when 9/11 happened. And it's been said that it's not a question of did they know, meaning Israel, did they know if it was going to happen. It's a matter of, the question is how, if they didn't know, how the hell didn't they know? Because they had people in the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the State Department, I mean, at Congress, the Senate, they had people everywhere, Susan.
Yeah, no, absolutely, that's true. That's absolutely true. And I was told, my CIA handler, Dr. Richard Hughes, told me about 9/11 in April of 2001. And I was instructed to threaten to go. The reason it came out was he summoned me to his office. He said he had a message that he wanted to deliver to Baghdad through my
Susan,
back.
You're going to get cut off by the break. Guys, stay tuned. We're going to leave you hanging there. Susan's going to pick up right where she left off when we come back. Stay tuned.